Hi everybody, my name is Mr. Francy and welcome back to Mr. Francy Reads. It's time for another reading vlog, so let's get right on in as I welcome you back to Mr. Francy Reads. Alright, yes, it is time for another reading vlog. Before we get into that, I want to give everyone the reading sprint schedule for the week because I love reading and I had a dream. Yes, I was just a man with a dream, and that dream has become a reality. And that dream was to be able to attend a reading sprint on any day of the week that I chose. The way to accomplish that dream was to ensure that there would be a reading sprint every single day of the week. And there is, which is so exciting. So let me take you through the schedule. On Mondays, we sprint over at Lee or Stormy's channel. Lee's channel is Dark Roots Creations. Stormy's channel is Storm Reads. So that will take place at 7 p.m. Eastern every single Monday. Now on Tuesdays, we are at my Discord, and this is a whole lot of fun. 6 p.m. Tuesdays, these are all Eastern Time, American Eastern Time. We go to my Discord, and it is like an audio version of a reading sprint where you can either listen in or you can chat with me. And it's so awesome because I get to chat with some of y'all that we don't get to see or hear on the regular reading sprints. So that's Tuesday at 6 p.m. Eastern. Then on Wednesdays at 6 p.m. Eastern, we're at Tiffany's channel, which is the Beach Bum Bookworm at 6 p.m. Eastern. All of them at Eastern Time. On Thursday, Friday, and Saturday at 6 p.m. Eastern, we are once again at my Discord for that audio chat, and it is a sprint, and I always ensure that we at least have 3 one-hour sprints for reading. So if you like the longer sprints, definitely come along and check them out. Earlier on in the day on Saturday at 12 p.m. Eastern, Tiffany hosts the Killing Time with Cozy's sprint on her channel Beach Bum Bookworm, so check that out. And then on Sundays over at Cozy Rose Discord, that is Killing Time with Cozy's, Cozy has set up a 24-hour readathon palooza called the Sunday Reading Club, which is set up that at any point in time over the course of 24 hours on Sunday Eastern Time, you can go over there and talk books, get involved in reading sprints. You have the entire day to do so. So that is the entire week. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. No matter where you are, there is somewhere where you can sprint. Alright, now let's get on to what I have been reading, and hopefully we'll close up this video with me telling you where I'm up to with the Mix It Up Readathon challenge that I'm hosting this month, because you all over on my Discord are doing amazing. Speaking of which, very quickly, if you want to be a part of the Discord, link to that is in the description. Click on it, head on over there, hang out with us. Everyone is just absolutely lovely and supportive over there. So I do highly recommend joining. If you love to read, then you'll be around fellow bookworms who have an absolute passion for reading and a whole lot of love to give. All right. So last time we spoke, I had started this book, Secret at Skull House by Josh Lanyon. This is book number 2 in the Secrets and Scrabbles series. It is a cozy mystery where we follow a male protagonist who just so happens to be gay, which I just think is fantastic because I hadn't come across a cozy where we have a male protagonist, let alone a male protagonist who is gay. I love the first book so much it's displayed right here. Murder at Pirates Cove was book 1. I gave book 1, I think I gave it like 3 or 3.5. I'm giving book 2 5 stars. It was just absolutely fantastic. There's not a lot I can say because it is book 2. I'll say some things. I don't know what's considered a spoiler and what's not, so I'll put my hand up, and then when I put it down, you'll know that I've stopped spoiling. Alright, so here we go. So in this one, we are following Ellery, again, our main character, who he's starting to get into, well, he is now in a relationship with the detective, which normally I'm not a big fan of, but in this case, it's a male-male relationship in a cozy, so I'm all for it. And Detective Carson is his name, is such a wonderful guy, so it works for me on so many levels. But in this one, Ellery's ex-boyfriend Brandon comes to town. Brandon is a very well-known horror writer, author, and he's, a best-selling horror author. And he decides to take up residence in a house called Skull House, which has been abandoned for a while because there was a murder that took place there, and it is part of a cold case. So he wants to go and live there to be inspired by being in the house. And yeah, things go down. At some point, Brandon ends up getting murdered, and so Ellery needs to solve the case because he is the number one suspect. So yeah, if he doesn't find out who, then the cops are going to say it was him. So, my thoughts on this book were that I really enjoyed it. I love being back in this world. I love the world of Pirates Cove. The characters are incredibly quirky. The relationship, I just love it so much. It is arguably my favourite relationship that I've read this year, and so I highly recommend it for that reason, but also to diversify your cozy reading. If you love cozy mysteries and you haven't read a cozy mystery with a male protagonist, or a male protagonist who just happens to be gay, I highly recommend this one. 5 stars from me. The next book that I picked up was another cozy because I was on a cozy reading binge at this point, but it was the last cozy that I was going to read for this month, and that was this book, A Side of Murder by Amy Pershing. So this book follows Samantha Barnes. Yes, I had to read the name on the back. She is a restaurant reviewer. So the book opens up with her and a number of other people who are sitting at a table working out what to order so that they can professionally critique the meal and all that kind of stuff. While they are there, just outside of the restaurant that they're at, someone has been murdered. So we're trying to solve the case. I mean, it's a cozy mystery. Someone got murdered. It's shocking, right? Shocking. So, yeah. No, look, I really, really enjoyed this book. I would probably say it's... I would probably say it's 50% cozy, 50% mystery, so it's very evenly balanced, which I did appreciate. Samantha ends up, I think, taking over or inheriting, one of the two, her auntie's house, and the house comes with a dog who you see on the cover, whose name is D-O-G. And the reason his name is D-O-G is because how do you spell the word dog? D-O-G. So his name is that, D-O-G. And D-O-G becomes an integral part of not only the cozy side, but also the mystery side, which I really, really appreciated. I thought this was great. I do highly recommend it, and I plan on reading book number 2 next month in June. I gave this book 4 stars. Yeah, I absolutely loved it. As I said, I will continue on next month. So, after reading Secret at Skull House and A Side of Murder, which came up 2 books after 2 other cozy mysteries, so it was 4 cozies in a row for me, it was time to read a genre that wasn't a cozy, and so I picked up this book, Prodigy by Mari Liu. This is book number 2 in the Legends series. I read Legend a little while ago and I absolutely loved it. I gave it 5 stars. So this is book 1, this is book 2. I'll give you the premise of book 1 so as not to spoil. We are following 2 people and their names are June and Day. So in this dystopian world, children, when they get to a certain age, need to take this like aptitude test of sorts. However, the test comes with massive consequences. There is a line as far as the scoring is concerned, and if you score above that line, then you're going to have a great life. You're going to go off to school, which will give you great advantages, you'll get an amazing job, all those sorts of things. If you end up below the line, then your life won't be as advantageous, and if you end up below the bottom line, then you won't even get funding to go to school, and you're just kind of going to be left to your own devices and to make your way in the world. So we follow Day, who has recorded the lowest ever score in history, as well as June, who has recorded the highest ever score in history. So we get a really good balance going on with the dual perspective of this book. And Day is trying to help his family because there is an outbreak of the plague. There is a cure. However, the cure costs money, and if you're in the lower class, you can't afford it. So Day's doing what he can to try and procure the cure. Meanwhile, June has been tasked with trying to capture Day. Things go down in book number 1, and it left me really intrigued to see how things will go with book 2. By the time I got to book 2, I was really intrigued to see how things were going to go, but I went in a little bit apprehensive because it's book 2. Maybe I'd suffer a bit of a letdown, but no ma'am, no way. This was fantastic. If anything, I gave this book 5 stars. I like this book even more. Oh my gosh. So I'm on a massive high with Mari Lou, and little bit of a spoiler for you. For my birthday, I got book number 3 as a hardcover. Champion. So I can't wait to get to this. I'm getting to it next month. So I absolutely loved this. With both of these books, and I am a harsh critic sometimes, but with both of these books, I cannot fault them. If you were to say to me, okay, Mr. Francy, just give me one con, I can't. I think the only con is that I now need to wait until June to read Champion. If you love YA dystopians, if you loved the Hunger Games, the Selection, things like that, you will love this series. It is just, oh my gosh, I cannot recommend the series highly enough. 5 stars for book 2, as well as book 1. So the next book that I picked up is a book that I recently started, so I have not finished it yet, and that is this book, King of Mist. Yes, King of Mist by Jordan Rivet. This is book number 2 in the Steel and Fire series. I read Duel of Fire, wherever the heck it is. I read Duel of Fire, book number 1, a little while ago, and I absolutely loved it. I don't remember what I rated it because I read it a while ago. But I want to get through the series, so I put this one as well as the Legend series onto my SAS list, and this is book number 2. Interestingly enough, book number 2 doesn't really hold your hand from book number 1. I've read a lot of books where you go into book 2 and in some way, shape or form, they catch you up with what happened in book 1. Book 2 did not do that, and I was relying on book 2 to do that. So it took me a while to feel grounded and centered in this world, but I do now feel that, and I'm excited to continue on. I am currently there, which is 51 pages in, or chapter 7, and so far it's pretty good. Premise of book 1 is that we're following a girl by the name of Dara. Well, it's omniscient narration, and I've been struggling a little bit with the omniscient narration of this book because I'm listening to it on audiobook and the narrator is female, which is nothing wrong with that, but because the 2 main characters one is female and one is male, it's really tough listening to the female narrator talk in an omniscient way about the male character, but it is what it is. I must have just been spoiled too much by this book, where we have a female and a male narrator who switch between both of them whenever we're with the male character or the female character. But anyway, book number 1. We are following Dara and the prince of this world. Dara wants to be a fencing champion. Her parents definitely do not support that, nor are they royalists by any stretch of the imagination. They're totally against the royal family. But Dara ends up pursuing her dream to become a fencing champion and ends up receiving her sparring partner, who ends up being the prince. Things go down in book number 1 that were incredibly exciting, and now that I'm finally at the point where I remember what the heck happened at the end of book 1, I remember the first 3 quarters of this book, but not the end. But now that I remember it, it's set us up really well for book number 2, and book number 2 has been really fantastic. This is a YA fantasy series. However, I would more specifically call it a YA fantasy dystopian. So it's like a 2-in-1. Because while there is a magic system that takes place in this series, we're also in a dystopian type world. So if you like those sorts of things, I do highly recommend it. And if you like royal, regal type reads, I mean, this book so far has mainly been set at the palace. So you know, I would recommend it for that too. But yeah, I'm really enjoying it so far. We will see how we go. So now let's take a look at what my plans are going to be for the rest of this week, the final week in the month of May. And of course, my first plan will be to finish off King of Mist. Once that is done, I'm going to pick up another book that is on my SAS list. Really, you know, become gung-ho about my SAS list. And that is the Del Toro Quest series. Just a warning, the covers look a little bit scary, so I just want to warn you before I show it to you. And it's a middle grade series, which is surprising. But anyway, book number 2 is this book. There you go. I'll remove it now so you don't have to look anymore. It's called The Lake of Tears. Book number 1 for this series sets us up in that we have a prince that is newly coronated, and during the coronation, he is meant to wear a belt. Everyone who has ever been coronated wears this belt for the coronation. And the belt has been forged by magical creatures of the land with all these different gemstones. When they go to coronate this prince and make him king, the belt is there, but the stones have been gone. There are 7 stones, so it sets us up for the entire series, which is to go and find each stone. And every single book in this series is a novella. So it's a quick read. Okay, so after reading that book, I am going to pick up my potentially final book that I'm going to read, which is a series read-along I'm doing on this channel of The Selection. I've decided to pick it up last so that I retain a lot of what's going on before we chat about it over on the Discord. Book number 2 in The Selection series is called The Elite by Kiera Cass, so that's what I'll pick up next. Loving this series. If you want to join us, link to the Discord in the description. And if I still have time, then I'll pick up Midnight for Charlie Bone, book number 1 in the Charlie Bone series. But because this is not on my SAS list, it will not be a priority. If I don't get to it this month, that's fine. I will shelve the book and I'll get to it at some point. Don't think that I won't get to it. It's just I'm running out of time this month. So we'll see how we go. All right, now time for me to update my Mix It Up Read-a-thon challenge. Taking a look at the challenge, this is where I stand, which is a whole lot better than I thought. So I have a bingo here. I have all 3 of these. It's hard to see that they're all crossed out, but all of those. I have a bingo there across the bottom. And I have an X there. Yeah, so I've got 3 empty squares. So let's just quickly go through what I have read. So for the top row, for my classic, I read The Metamorphosis by Franz Kafka. For my cozy, I read A Side of Murder by Amy Pershing. For my LGBTIQ plus book, I read Secret at Skull House. For my middle grade, I read the first book in the Babysitter's Club, Christie's Great Idea. For my YA, I read Prodigy by Marie Lu. And for my adult book, I read Dracula. So far, so good. I don't know if I'm going to be able to knock out the romance or 3/4 tome, but I might be able to. We will see how things go. For those of you wondering what is happening with Confessions of a Shopaholic, I mean, you know better than I do. I'm still waiting for the book to arrive. So once it does, I will go from there. But even if it arrives next month, then I'm more than happy to have book 1 and 2 on my TBR next month. That's totally fine because it is on my SAS list. But anyway, that is it. That is where we are going to leave it for this week's reading vlog. These are the books that I read this week. These are the books that I'm either currently reading or hoping to get to. This is the book that I may get to. Time will tell. But in the meantime, that is where I am going to leave it, letting you guys go with peace, blessings, and so much love. I post videos every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, and I'll see you again soon. Mwah. Thank you so much for watching. Please be kind and love one another. And spread your sparkling energy all throughout the world. And until next time, happy reading!